Hello, everyone. My name is Roman, and I've created the software for my own CNC machining company, Rocco Manufacturing. And I was, I wanted to make this public, and I never knew where to start. So I've decided to start very simple and create a video demonstrating all of the different features that we have in this software, and see if this is something that works for you and maybe this can help you in your daily operations, just like it helps us in our daily operations. This software includes a lot of different nice features that help us out in everyday operations. And I will start off with demonstrating uh, our. I will start off with demonstrating the attendance page. Well, this right here is the login. Uh, just like anywhere else, we log in into the software with using your username and password. Once you're logged in, you will be usually on your attendance and calendar page. So in the beginning, I want to show you the attendance and calendar page, and I'll just be going left to right, showing you every other feature that's available here. The attendance and calendar is pretty simple. Here we have the time frame you can select to see how many hours an employee worked. Let's say we select December 16th to December 20th and select the employee's name. And let's say we can select individual employees or we can select all employees. I'll do all employees, click search, and we only have one employee that clocks in and clocks out. So here the hours. There's the total hours, automatic lunch subtractions, time out, time in, that you can modify by clicking on it if if there's a discrepancy or something. Also, you can delete the record, or if there is no record for a specific day, you will be able to add one. So the way you will add a record is you will select December, let's say unknown record date for let's say December 16th through December 21st, and click search. It's going to show me that, okay, on Saturday, there is no record, the person was absent. And let's say I wanted to add a record, I'd click on this check mark and then put in the time in. Then there's going to be the timeout, and that's how you do that. You can also you don't necessarily have to select the timeout. You can just say don't add timeout. Just simply add the record, and the employee will clock out by on their own. And then there is a calendar. You can also, I'm sorry, you can also print the report once you click on this print report button, and it will actually generate a print page for you to print out the employee hours. Then there's a calendar tab, which you select, and you can actually see all of the employees. This is me right here. Um, I don't use this calendar feature in our operations. We don't, there's only three of us, so we don't exactly have to track this stuff. This is just for show purposes. And right here, I this is a calendar generic for every person. If I select a specific employee, such as myself, it's going to say that this is for that employee, and then it will show you the dates, and you can select whatever month you're looking for, or go forward and select a day. Let's say if there's a vacation planned in March, you can click vacation and click the days that the person will be on vacation. Or you can do the same stuff with sent home, excused absence for whatever reason, or it's a sick day. It's a pretty straightforward system. And then you can go none, and you have the same stuff here. You can delete the record by clicking on it and saying OK, and the record deletes. You can also drag and drop this to a different day. If, let's say, you created one that's the wrong date, you can simply drag it and put it in where you need that to be. So this system here is a straightforward one. Nothing much to it. But once again, it's a one system. Then you go and you have your employees. You can select an employee. I will select our actual employee to show you the punctuality graph, where it will show you when the employee is late during the year, it will show you a 12 months, and it will give you a graph. And this month, month of May, the person was on time 13.64% and late 86.36%. So as you can tell, the way it's set up in the settings, the employee is usually late every month more than being on time. The overall absences, I will show you. This will show here a graph if you actually use the calendar for vacations. It will give you the information on how often there's vacation or stuff like that. There's general information, employee ID that they use to clock in, clock out, and track jobs if they do so. You can add an employee by pressing plus sign. You can remove an employee and edit the employee information. So if you go, let's say, into me and go into my name, you will see that the overall absences is here. There's 7.69% of sick days, sent home percentage, absences, and vacations. So there's that, and that, like I said, that's controlled by the calendar inputs. Now let's move on to the simpler, more simple stuff, which is the work schedule. It's a very simple system here. You can just see which jobs are active right now that you are working on. For example, we have 13 jobs that are currently active on the floor, and there's something being done to it. We have the statuses that do automatically update in the job controls, the customer priority, due dates, and so on. The process is something that you can really put any information in here, whatever you want to do there. In order to add a work schedule item, you go ahead, press the plus sign, and then you enter the job number, select the priority, and add it to the schedule. Then the customers is a pretty simple list also. You just simply have a list of your customers that's linked to the jobs, and that's linked to the invoicing and anything, like purchase order or anything like that. Same goes with the vendors list as the customer list. So that's the vendors and customers. Now you have also the let's say the NCC, which is non-conformance control. And you have a list of non-conforming parts where this is already done for the ISO and AS 9100 compliance, where you can add um, add a non-conforming part. For example, if I have a non-conforming part, I add a number, job number, I give it all the necessary inputs, and I click add record, and it will go ahead and add a non-conformance to my job controls. And let's say I'm going to select something here, and serial numbers, approvals, dispositions, dates, same stuff goes here. The quantity will be 1, department, CNC, disposition, scrap, and then you can put your non-conformance, root cause of problem, and action plan. For example, example 2, and example 3. Now, you do use this $ to divide these into 3 fields due to the NCR and CAR forms. I will change that up so it's actually different ones and the different inputs, so you don't have to be confused. And notes and comments, notes and comments section. Now, you add the record. Once you added this record, it will populate right over here, and you are able to access the NCR form that's already populated for you, most of the stuff, so you don't have to do it 2 different times. You have your description of nonconformity, which is example, and then you have your notes and comments section right over here. You can close that, and you have your CAR form, which is another form that you have to do for NCR and ISO system. You have root cause of problem example 2, action plan example 3, and notes and justifications. That's, if you wanted to use this, you would have to populate it manually. And you have your car log in here, which is every, just a simple table for every corrective action that you have in here. So that would be pretty much all for the nonconformance, and we can move on into our quotations system, which is a very nice little and simple tool for quoting your parts and not having to um not having to do the math manually or use Excel spreadsheets or anything like that. And keep in mind that any of this stuff that's here, I'm looking for inputs, I'm looking for feedbacks, and if you have a way of create of you think you have a way that to make this system better, please reach out. Please let me know what you would like to see, what changes you would like to see, and if there's enough people that are actually interested in something like that, I will certainly add this to the system. So it can be changed. Now, let's say we do also, it can be customized for just your own shop. We can do create a new quote. Uh, let's say I'm going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the RFQ number. I'll select the customer and create the quote. Now, once I create the quote, I have all the general information right over here on the left side. I have a quoting tab, general notes tab, files that I can upload here for the drawings, models, or any other related files. Your settings tabs where you can put in your hourly rate, setup rate, labor rate for the specific quote, and a quote summary once you're done with the quote. So let's create 2 parts, uh, something like this. Let's say that this one is 1, 5, 10, and 20 pieces. The process is milling, turning, or mill turn. And you add the part number. Once you've done that, you can create another one if you need to. Say 2, an A, and put 10 parts. And once that's done, we press add part number. Okay. We have 2 part numbers over here. There's nothing in them yet. So we go ahead and click on this one. And we have all of these tabs that operations, I should say, that have accumulated for you because you selected the milling process, and you have documentation, material, engineering, CNC mill, process inspection, deburr, final ship. So you go ahead and let's say since we have 1, 5, 10, and 20 pieces, we click here, click save, okay. And now we have for every part, we have a different, for every quantity, we have a different price that we can input manually for the material cost. Let's say the material is 500,000 and so on. And we just, whatever the material might cost you. And then the engineering and programming part, that's where you can input your setup time, right? Let's say it's going to take me 300 minutes to complete the engineering, maybe draw some models or make some operation sheets, and whatever I need done. I can put this in, um, save it, and it's going to show me the price for the 300 minutes, which it simply multiplies that by the setup rate that you've specified in your settings for this specific quote. Same goes for the milling. Here I can actually input the runtime, which is, let's say, going to be 90 minutes, and the setup will take me 240 minutes. I'll save the changes. It's going to populate accordingly. So it's going to change the price now for every part because it has a runtime which we calculate a little bit different rather than it's just a fixed setup cost. So it's going to be different pricing for each quantity. Same goes for deburring, shipping, or anything else. Then the prices are accumulated right over here. Now, and I'm sorry, before that, you can add another operation or you can delete an operation. And you specify the type, whether it's in-house or outside. You add that, it's going to down here. You can move it if you want to. And you click here, you do what you need to do. Let's say it's I don't know, CMM programming operation, and it's going to take me 120 minutes to set it up. And then the CMM will run for 5 minutes on each part. Now it gives me all of these prices right here. This is the calculated price, and the actual price that's going to be displayed on the quote will be the one that you put right over here. That's going to tell you, it's going to say zero, and you say, okay, so it's calculated $2,745, and let's, round it up and make it 2,750. We do that, that's done, and then same scenario for every other part. Let's say this one is going to be, you know, uh, less, and so on for every other part. I'm just putting in numbers randomly. Once that's done, we have all of this accumulated here. We go back to the quote, we come here when we do the same stuff for the next part. Oh, I'm not going to bother and put, all these numbers in here. I'm just going to say that, okay, I want $500 to do this part. I don't need to do all this calculation. And go back. If I need to put any notes for the customer that's going to be seen by them, I can go ahead and say notes, save the changes, okay. And now I'm going to go in. Uh, you can add your files, obviously, but once I'm done with all that, I can go ahead and press quote summary, and that's going to give me all of the summary, how much the prices are. I click print, and it's going to make a little nice PDF for you to either print or save and send to the customer for their review. So that's the quotations. Now, excuse me. Once we go back to the jobs control, we can, I can show you the jobs control now. We go in here, and let's say I've already chosen a job that I will be showing you. I can actually search if I need to look by a specific customer, and I'm gonna say Jesse, for example. We have this one customer. It's gonna show me every job that we have created for him ever since. And let's say I'm gonna choose his job, and I'm gonna say that I want to open it. I'm gonna input the job number, view job, and I have it right here. So this field is actually very nice. It shows you a lot of different information about the job. And if you use this correctly and you put in the time to put in, to put all those inputs and track your time on the machine, it will give you a very nice report that will say how much time everything took you. It will calculate your overhead costs that you will be able to set up in your settings. It will tell you your profit, and it will tell you your earnings per hour. All of this is demonstration purposes only. None of this information is actually true for this particular job. And if I go into routing, I have my traveler. I can copy a traveler from a different job. So let's say if I have a similar job, similar operations or anything, I can click copy routing information, enter the number, and it's just going to go ahead and put all of these in here. I can add an operation. I can put the title, number, description, and traveler description. And it will add the operation into here, and then I can sort it out. So let's say if I need to add an operation in the middle, so I want to do operation 70, but I already have 60, 70, and 80. So what I would do, I would say add operation, say that it's I don't know, let's say it's a saw, and put it as operation number 30, for example. And we put your content in here, and you add the operation. Now, we've added the saw operation. It will add somewhere in here. And right now, as you can see, everything is kind of messed up. So you can drag and drop these. You can go 10, 20, 30, 40. Now, okay, 50, 60, 70, 80, and 90. But since, I'm sorry, since this is, these are now messed up because this is 30, we have to go ahead and change those up. So I know that this is going to be 40, this is going to be 50, 60, uh, 70, 80, and 90. And I can go and accordingly change these to 40, 50, and so on and so on. 60. Now I have everything sorted, nice. So that there's a in process here, but not in any of other ones because it was actually recorded into the system uh, like a production item. So we actually started doing something on that operation and we started putting in some information there, which again is demonstration purposes only. So you have a finances tab that's directly linked into our accounting portion of the software, where if I put in a expense into my accounting and I say that this expense is linked to job number 1442, it will add this expense into here and it will show it on the report right over here. It will also do the same stuff for the material, where if I do that and I link it to 1442, and I say that it's a raw material, it will automatically add it into the materials section. Here, this button here, it's actually purchase orders creating just for materials. So it's something that doesn't work yet, but it's in the process of development. There's a production history that you can track. Now, since the up 50 has status in process, that means there's some information in here. Every other one will not have anything there. Uh, and I will demonstrate this other portion of the software. And the way we use this is we have an iPad on every machine that's logged in as a separate machine. So we kind of have okay, let's say we have a Haas VF2 and we have that Haas VF2 iPad there and it's logged into the system as as a Haas VF2 name, and we are able to track every job. And I will show you that in in a second. And I will come back and show you this stuff also once I do something there. There's a non-conformance tab that populates from this section here, and your files for the job. So you have you can upload your purchase orders, certs, drawings, operation sheets, inspection reports, and anything else you might need for this job. And also there is a history tab that will show you every other job with the same part number that you have ever machined, and it will show you what files are in that particular job. Also, there's a miscellaneous field that you are able to create on your own in the settings tab. So for example, if you needed something specific, you can go ahead and create your own field. You can create a text area field where, you can put a lot of different sentences in. You can create a simple text field, and you can create a selection one where there's, you can only you can only select a couple of things that will save them for the specific job. So that's going to be on the jobs control. Now, another thing I want to show you is the inventory, uh, which is still in the development process, really. We've just started to implement this into our day-to-day operations, and please disregard all of this was added by me just to test if everything works. You have parts and fixtures, you have your customer parts list that's in stock, you have your fixtures that are in stock, raw materials, full size for tooling, inspection tools, if you wanted to maintain a list of your inspection pins. Let's say like we have many tenths pins and I want to know if I actually have a pin to inspect something of that feature. The CNC tooling tab is a tab where you have all of your tools. You have we have square end mill here, radius end mill, ball nose, so on and so on. And for example, I go into my square end mill and I select the size I'm looking for. I select the radius. Since it's a square, there are no radiuses, and I select the length of cut. For example, I'm looking for 1 inch length of cut, 1/2 inch in diameter. I click search, and it's going to show me every 1/2 inch end mill with 1 inch length of cut that we have. And the way we do this, we have drawers that are named A, bins that are named, and then sub bins that are that are, let's say we have a drawer that's A, and then there's one bin, and that bin has different sections. We have it as sub bin. And there's so this particular tool will be in drawer A, bin 60, sub bin 1. Now I have the ability to reorder this tool if my quantity is low on stock. So I can press this reorder button and it will populate an email for me, sending it to whoever I'd like to send it to. And you just specify the quantity and you send it out, and then you get your tools. Now, another nice portion is that I can add this to my setup. So I can click the plus sign and enter my setup ID, and let's say it's 1005. I press OK, and it's been added to my setup. So let's say the way I use this when I'm programming and I want to know, okay, do I have this specific tool and that I want to use? If I do have it, I add it to my setup. Once I go to do my setup, I just simply go into the setup instructions tab. I enter the part number that I'm looking for, select the operation, and click search. Once I do that, I've already uploaded my programs in here. I've put the instructions, I put the setup picture, and then there's the tool list for this particular job. And now this is the one that we added, the 1/2 inch, 8 flutes, 1 inch length of cut. And the quantity in stock, it shows me here. So I can go ahead and say, all right, so I'm taking this tool out. So I go minus and I say that I'm removing the tool and I enter the job number that I'm removing it for, where I can where what this does is I can track now actually how many tools I've taken for a particular job and how many tools have I actually either broke, or they got so used up that they went into a scrap carbide, or in any other scenario, or maybe it came back and it returned, and so the tool wasn't used completely, like for an aluminum job, for example. You press add the tool and you say the same part number, and now you have the ability to track the exact amount of tools you're using. And it's a nice, neat feature that really works for us. And you press, I'm going to go ahead and delete this one. It's delete this tool from here, since these tools are actually these tools are actually something live. Um, Now, what I can also do here is generate a setup sheet. This is just a very simple thing you can print out for you and have the tools list and everything, if you have to take it to the machine or something. Let's go back. Now, there's another tool reorder tab here, or if I go in here, well, actually, let me show you this. I go into the square end mills. Let's say I have this end mill and it says reorder interest 1. If it has the 1 in here, then that means that I have interest in reordering it if my stock drops to 3 or less tools. So once my stock drops to 3 tools, it will add the tool in here and it will tell me that, okay, like you should consider reordering these tools. And you can go ahead and say that I want 5 of these and 2 of these, and nothing here, right? Let's say this one is 0. Now, when I press reorder selected, it will say that, it will populate this email with these 2 tools, the quantities that I want, the quantities in stock, and, you can reorder as many tools as you'd like in one shot. Once that will be done, if you don't put anything in here, then it's not going to populate it. If you put it everywhere, and you press reorder, it will give you 3-2. So that's a nice little system here. Now, our accounting system is another thing that works pretty great for our size shop. I don't have any, I don't have to use any like QuickBooks or anything like that. It's pretty straightforward for me since, well, I did create it, so might take some getting used to, but it works. And if there's a lot of interest in this software, I will link this um, directly. I will make it possible to link this directly to your bank accounts, so you don't have to populate all the expenses by yourself. It will just go ahead and do it for you automatically from your bank's uh, online banking. Sorry. Now you have your bank account, you have your transfers, reconciliation, and you're able to do all the accounting things. Now you have your invoices in here that we use, and once you press create invoice, you put all the information, uh, press create invoice, and it will actually create an invoice here for you, which you can press print, print out the invoice, send it to your customer, or whatever you do. And then there's also a print packing slip that will show you the actual packing slip there for that invoice. Now, if you go back, um, you're back into your invoices, and you have two tabs here. There's your this year invoices and all other invoices for every other year. Same thing goes for purchase orders. You can create a purchase order, select your vendor, and send the purchase order out, and do whatever you need to do. In your expenses tab, as I was showing you, you can create an expense, put the date, amount, category, and select the account from which bank. And if you want to link it to a job number, you just put the job number in here. And it's going to be linked to that job. And if you select any other category than raw materials and link it to the job, it will go into the financing tab. If you select raw materials category, it will go into your materials tab. It's just a nice little separation, so you know that, okay, like for tooling, we did this. For materials, we did, we did this. Um, Now, same stuff goes with your revenues. You can add your revenues, and I will also add something where you can import your stuff from Excel file. So you don't have to click this for every record that you have, which is very time consuming, as I learned, and much easier to just, download a CSV file from your online banking and import it here, and you're done. Right now, I don't have that available as of yet, but I will do that. So then you have your reports tab here. The reports tab shows you a full categorized report, including all jobs and profits, which isn't does not work right now, but it will be something that that will come by time. There's a full categorized report of your profits and loss. There's a summary for your yearly federal taxes, and then there's a report for Connecticut DRS quarterly filing, since we're in Connecticut. This will, we will make this customizable, the reports. Now, if we go back into our resource planning, um, I will show you the jobs controls once again, and I'll go in here. So I open this tab. I'll open another tab with the portal, and I will go ahead and go into the shop view login. Actually, no, before I do that, let me go into setting, show you the settings tab. In the settings tab, you're able to put your company name, address, phone numbers, whatever information you need to put here. Jobs is actually the traveler custom line that you can print on. And there's also a custom job fields, the one that I was referring to in miscellaneous right over here, that you can create your own field. So you can press here, give it a field name, and select which type it is, and you're you're able to create this and remove them and rebuild if you ever need this. Now, the attendance tab is something that you do for your shift. Let's say if I put in that, 8 o'clock is the first shift's time in, then that's when the system will consider someone late. If they clock in after 8 o'clock, it will say that it's late. Well, actually, in this case, because I have consider late after 7 minutes, they will be considered late after 8:07. Same goes for second shift, third shift, and so on. Automatic lunch subtractions after 2:30, after 6, after 2. Consider half day after hours, 6 after 6 hours. So pretty much, if somebody worked less than 6 hours, the system will consider them as half day. And then you can select the way you count your minutes. You can count every minute, or you can round every 6 minutes for easier accounting. It depends how people do it. Now, notifications tab doesn't exactly work. No, I'm sorry, it works, but we don't use it because it's not something that would be helpful for three of us. I did create this when I was making this software, but it's not something we have ever really used. The notify about employee's birthday in 10 days, notify if an employee was late, or if there is a delivery due date, if somebody forgot to clock out, and if customer looked at a job status. This one doesn't really work. I was planning on creating a software for the customer side of it, but really, I created a trial and it was never used by anyone. So I decided that, we're probably way too small for customers to log into our systems and, look at what we're doing with their jobs. So that was something that probably wouldn't work. Now, the spending margin that you can see here in your reports, I'm sorry, you can set a spending margin, and it will, if this amount that you log into your accounting goes over the spending margin, well, probably should say spending limit, it will tell you that, it will notify you that the margin was exceeded. Now, the user's account, you can create as many users as you'd like, and you can tell them the privileges. You can select that, okay, this user has the ability to access this, the attendance, the employees, the jobs, customers, or, whatever you'd like them to see. If you don't select something, they will not be able to go into that tab. I will also create something for the jobs control where you can select what somebody can see in the jobs control. So, for example, let's say you don't want to have your employee to see that the price of the part is $20, then it's not going to be there for them. They will only be able to see the selected options. Now, the ShopView users is something that I mentioned before, that this is something that we actually use for our tracking of how we do on a job. So the way this works, I will go in here and I will press ShopView login, and it brings me into this ShopView where you have to log in also, and and you once you log in here, you have this little tab where employees can clock in and clock out. Since we have an iPad at every machine, so it doesn't really matter. Like, anybody can clock in, clock out at any machine, and do what they have to do there. Now, what I mainly use this here is this tab here is for engineering purposes, really. Once I press job log, I can enter my ID and I can open a job. So see here, it says, please enter the operation key. Now I have to enter the specific operation key within the routing. So let's say I'm working on, so let's choose engineering, right? 12993. 12993 will be the operation key that I'm working on. And I will say, okay, and that job record has started. Now, then once I'm done with it, I can click close, and also I can add as many jobs as I'd like, and then just, close them as I go. Now I can click here and say the time spent. Actually, I should input this in minutes. I forgot to change this to minutes, but uh, this, let's say it took me 60 minutes since it's engineering non-zero, and I would say that it's set up, close the job, press OK. Now that job is closed. Now, if I go back into my production history, I do have to reload this page. Um, Go into my production history, I will have engineering say in process. And it does say that the type was set up, status not available, calculated time 0 hours, 0 minutes because I opened and closed it right away. But it takes into consideration only manual time if I put it in. So if I here where I put in the time, if I put 0, it would actually take into account the calculated time and not the manual time, just like it's here with the lathe. So here, since there's 60 minutes manual time put in here, it will take the manual time into account, not the calculated time, and vice versa. So if there's 0 here, then it's going to take this. If it's 0 here, it's going to take this. Okay, that's the production side for engineering. At least that's what I use it for. Now, there's another view that's for our iPads. And once you're in this view, you can click job log, enter your ID, and it will actually tell you that the operator name is Roman, and the machine name says not a machine because I'm not logged in as a machine. So I can let's say I have an iPad at my Haas VF2. I create a specific user account just and name it VF2. And when I name it VF2, it's gonna say that this machine is the VF2, and that's the machine that this job is being done on. Now I can input my operation key, and let's say I'm going to choose operation 60, which is 12995. 12995, change, and it brings me to, it tells me every operation here right now. So I'm gonna press finish day because I just before I want to demonstrate this stuff without it. Now, uh, it shows me the information about this job to make sure that I enter the correct operation key. I have the ability to log the part manually. So let's say I forgot to press cycle start or cycle stop or anything like that. And I just wanted, or for any other reason, I wanted to add it manually. I said, add manually, is this a good part? Yes, it is. How much time it took me? It took me 25 minutes, for example. And then part logged. Okay, now that part is actually logged. It says 0 because there is nothing that's updating this since the day wasn't started yet. Then there's this button here that's start day. So the way we do it, we come into work, and once we turn on the machines, I press start day on the iPad, and it starts calculating the idle time of the machine. So the timer just keeps going until you can click finish day. Once you're going home, turning off the machine or anything like that. And as you can see, the amount of locked parts actually is 1. It updated itself once the timer got going. And so, for example, I made one piece, and I know that the cycle time for this part is actually 1 minute. So I'm going to say 1 minute. And once it's there, and I press the cycle start button on the machine, and I go right next to the machine and press the cycle run button here, it's going to say that the machine status is running and the selected job mode is production. So right now, as you can tell, the cycle stop right there is counting backwards that 1 minute that we put in here. So it doesn't matter if I go somewhere away from the machine, I go to the restroom or anything like that, it's still going to count this part as complete finished in that 1 minute while that timer stops running. And for example, let's say if I'm running the machine and something happened and the tool actually maybe broke, or I don't know, for some reason I pressed cycle stop on the machine. I can press cycle stop here once and it will pause. It will simply pause and not do anything right now. Then once I press cycle run again, it will continue going as normal. And once, this remaining time is finished, it will log another part that it has been completed. And if I click the cycle stop button twice, it will just cancel the cycle. It will cancel the part and not add anything whatsoever. Now, as you can tell here, the machine runtime is 1 minute at this point because we ran one part, we cycled it for one part, so it was 1 minute when it was running. Now the machine is idling again, so we're not making the parts, and the machine is just sitting there. This way, you can track how long your machines actually idle and how long they actually run. And if you do all of this math, and at some point, I'm probably going to add a dashboard where you will be able to see all of this information about every machine that you have, as long as people put in the correct cycle times, and just really, like, especially if it's production, very, very simple. Click cycle run on the machine, cycle run on the iPad, and it's going to do everything on its own pretty much. So it's another great, nice feature that I think works pretty great. Also, you can press start clean machine, finish machine clean. That's pretty much, let's say, since your machine was idling for 3 hours, like why was it idling? Maybe we were cleaning the machine, or maybe we were doing something else. So you can kind of track that up. You can track the add coolant, you can track the added oils, and calculate how much you're spending on each machine, how much consumption there is, or anything like that. You can also do start setup. So the way the start setup button works is once you come in and click the start day, you can say start setup. Once the setup is started, the job mode moves into in setup. The idle time keeps running, but since the idle time is running and you're in setup mode, you will now know, and it's actually calculating right now how much, how long you're doing the setup. And once you're done with the setup, you just come in here and you simply click stop setup, and it will finish, and that's it. You're done with your setup. It's recorded into the system, and you're done with that. It's a nice feature where you don't have to think, oh, how much time did I actually spend on this setup? Or like I come back and I have to say, okay, I maybe spent an hour, maybe two. Well, it's not really accurate. I mean, it's this system here is pretty accurate. It's gonna tell you exactly how long you were doing the setup, because it knows when you press the start setup, and it knows when you press the stop setup, and it was the exact time. So that's pretty much all for this. And once you go back into your system here, and you go into the job, and you go into your production history, you will see that my this lathe rate here has actually accumulated a couple of parts. And this is the first one that we added manually, and I said it was 25 minutes. And this is the second one that actually ran for 1 minute, and it tells you zero manual time. And now it takes this one into consideration. So, and then there's the setup that I was talking about. See, it says that the type is setup, the status NA, since it does not know whether you made a part or you didn't make a part, where this manual admin actually comes in handy. So let's say you did the setup, and then you say, okay, I know that the part ran for like 25 minutes. Now I can add that I actually did this part also, or I can say that it actually took me 0 minutes to make this part because it was a setup. Well, there's many different things, many different ways you can use this system. Yeah. So that's that. And here, I believe I went through everything. And if you're interested in this software, please reach out, send me an email, text message, whatever you want. I will show you more. I will show you features, how they work in depth if you wanted to see that. I can tell you how we use them. I can tell you, how things work. And on this note, I hope you guys like the software and we'll give it a try. Thank you very much once again for watching, and I hope you have a great day, guys.